The scent of motor oil and metal shavings lingered on my work clothes as I pulled into my driveway after a grueling 12-hour shift at the auto shop. Exhausted, all I wanted was to spend a moment with my pride and joy. A 1967 Camaro SS I'd spent 18 months transforming from a rusted heap into a gleaming masterpiece. I pressed the garage door remote, and as the door creaked open, the chrome sparkled under the light, the deep orange paint practically glowing. Then chaos erupted. Someone called 911. He's stealing my car. My neighbor, Brenda, the HOA president, charged across her lawn like a furious guard dog. Phone already glued to her ear. Yes, there's a black man stealing my car right now. Send everyone. Police sirens wailed in the distance. She called them before even confronting me. There I stood in my own driveway, holding my own keys, staring at my own car, about to be accused of theft. What would you do if your neighbor turned the police into a weapon against you on your own property? Drop a flag emoji in the comments and let me know where you're reading from. I'm curious how far this madness spreads. My name's Marcus, a third-generation mechanic. My grandfather taught my father, who taught me, and our family has kept this town's cars running for 60 years. After my divorce last spring, when my ex decided grease-stained hands weren't her thing, I used my savings to buy a modest home in Willowbrook Estates, a middle-class HOA neighborhood where lawns are pristine, mailboxes are uniform, and people supposedly mind their own business. At least, that's what the realtor claimed. The Camaro wasn't a midlife crisis toy. I found it in an estate sale 18 months ago, a rusted shell most would have scrapped for $30. But I saw potential, pure American muscle waiting to roar again. For $3,200, it was mine. Every weekend became a labor of love. A new 350 small block engine, rebuilt turbo 400 transmission, full suspension overhaul. The Hugger orange paint job took 4 months of sanding, priming, and wet sanding to achieve a finish so vibrant it could dazzle pilots. I documented every step, every bolt, gasket, and drop of sweat, with photos for insurance, keeping receipts in a binder thicker than a dictionary. The smell of fresh primer became my weekend cologne. Cold coffee a fixture on my workbench as I lost myself in the rhythm of restoration. Then there's Brenda Wilson, the HOA president and self-appointed dictator of Willowbrook Estates. A real estate agent with a white BMW polished more often than most people bathe, manicured nails untouched by labor, and hair defying physics. Brenda had ruled the neighborhood for 3 years unopposed. Her weapon? Paperwork. She'd cite residents for trash cans left out 12 minutes past pickup, fence posts 1/8 of an inch too wide, or unapproved mailbox fonts. Once, she measured my lawn with a ruler, claiming my grass exceeded the 2.5-inch limit. Just maintaining community standards, she'd say, her smile colder than a winter radiator. 2 weeks before the driveway incident, she stormed over while I was bleeding brake lines, offended by the screech of my impact wrench. There's a noise ordinance. No power tools after 6 p.m., she snapped. I stayed calm, wiping my hands on a rag. City ordinance allows hobby work until 9 p.m. I can show you the code. Her smile turned icy. We'll see about that. This industrial activity hurts property values. She spat industrial activity, like I was running a chop shop instead of restoring a classic. The day it all exploded started with Brenda's monthly pool party, where neighborhood wives sipped mimosas and faked interest in vacation photos. Through my garage walls, I heard her voice pierce the chatter. That's my new Camaro. Bought it for $45,000 from a Phoenix dealer. They're shipping it next week. My wrench hit the floor. She was showing off photos of a car identical to mine, basking in their awe like she'd invented horsepower. That afternoon, I drove to grab brake fluid, the Camaro's 350 engine rumbling like thunder. When I returned, Brenda stood in her driveway, arms crossed, glaring at my car like a predator eyeing prey. I nodded politely. She didn't respond, just stared with unnerving intensity. That night, I'm certain she spent hours online, building a delusion that I'd somehow stolen her fictional car. By morning, she'd morphed from annoying neighbor to dangerous adversary. When 2 patrol cars screeched into my driveway, lights flashing, I knew my quiet Saturday was doomed. For officers spilled out like it was a bank heist. Officer Rodriguez, a 20-year veteran with kind eyes, approached calmly, hand on his belt. His partner, Officer Morgan, a younger guy built like a linebacker, held a notebook. "Evening, sir. We got a report of a stolen vehicle at this address." The absurdity hit me like a sledgehammer. Stolen vehicle? This is my car in my garage at my house. That's like saying I stole my own couch. Brenda appeared like a suburban ghost, clutching her phone. "That's him. That's the thief. I just bought that Camaro for $45,000. I took a deep breath, the scent of exhaust grounding me. Stay calm, I thought. My dad always said documentation beats desperation. "Officers, I can prove ownership," I said, pulling out my phone to show my restoration album. Photos of the car from rust bucket to masterpiece. Rodriguez swiped through, impressed. "Serious craftsmanship," he said, zooming in on the engine bay. "You do this professionally?" "Family business," I replied. My grandfather would have had my hide for sloppy work. Brenda, meanwhile, was unraveling, thrusting printed photos of the officers. Generic dealer images, no VIN, no paperwork. "I wired the money yesterday," she insisted. Rodriguez asked for a bill of sale or receipts. Her face reddened. "It's being processed. Classic cars take time." I dug through my workbench, producing my binder, DMV registration, 18 months old, with my name, address, and matching VIN, insurance photos, and a handwritten bill of sale from Eleanor Hutchinson's estate, signed 18 months ago. Eleanor sold me her husband's project car. I explained. Sweetest lady. Made me promise to show her the finished product. The silence was deafening. Rodriguez examined the documents, flashlight illuminating every detail. Morgan closed his notebook. "Ma'am," he has clear ownership records. "Your evidence is just internet printouts." Rodriguez's tone shifted to cop mode. Filing a false police report is a misdemeanor in this state. Brenda's face paled. There's been a mistake, the stress of car shopping. But her eyes told a different story, cold, calculating. As the officers left, I caught her glaring through her window. This wasn't over. Monday morning, I found an HOA violation notice in my mailbox, unauthorized commercial vehicle storage, targeting my work van, a Ford Transit with Rodriguez Family Auto on the side. $200 fine, 48-hour compliance deadline, signed by Brenda. She jogged past my house 17 times that day. I counted, glaring at my van like it was a personal insult. But HOA covenants are legal contracts, and my divorce lawyer taught me to follow paper trails. At the courthouse, I found my van, purchased in 2017, was grandfathered in before Willowbrook's 2020 commercial vehicle rules. Brenda had no legal ground. I drafted a response with proof and delivered it to the HOA office. The receptionist's eyes widened. "Mrs. Wilson won't like this," she whispered. By Wednesday, my mailbox was a complaint dumping ground. Oil stains, my driveway spotless. Automotive odors, the smell of WD-40 apparently. And noise violations during legal hours. Brenda was throwing everything, hoping something would stick. I invested in 4 high-def security cameras with cloud storage and night vision. They caught Brenda's new hobby. Stalking my property line, measuring distances, snapping photos like a suburban spy. Thursday's emergency board meeting was a farce. Announced at 4 p.m. for 7 p.m., barely legal notice. At the community center, it was just Brenda, Clara, her nervous sidekick, and Janet, her yes woman. "Where's the rest of the board?" I asked. Brenda smirked. "This is sufficient." She proposed an immediate ban on automotive repair, with a $500 fine for past violations. I pulled out the HOA bylaws. Section 4.3 requires 7 days notice for votes, and 4.7 needs 5 board members for a quorum. This meeting's as legal as a lemonade stand. I added, Section 2.9 makes board members personally liable for invalid meetings. Brenda's composure cracked. "You think you're so smart, coming into our neighborhood with your people and your activities." Her venom was palpable, but I stayed calm. I'm just a homeowner who reads contracts. Later, neighbor Tom, apologetic, invited me for coffee. Most of us think she's nuts, he said. Let's talk strategy. Friday, City Code Enforcement's Dave Martinez arrived after an anonymous complaint about unlicensed auto repair. My garage, cleaner than most professional shops, impressed him. No evidence of commercial activity, he said, scribbling notes. Same voice keeps calling us. She needs a better hobby. Brenda's next move was a complaint to my insurance company, claiming my garage was a fire hazard. My agent, Bill, a car enthusiast, laughed it off after inspecting my setup. Your safety measures are commercial grade, he said. Progressive sent Brenda a cease and desist for false claims. Then she turned to social media, creating the Willowbrook Neighborhood Watch Group, posting photos of my van and garage with dog whistle comments about industrial zones. Neighbors fought back in the comments, sharing their own Brenda nightmares, but she deleted the sent, fracturing the group. Saturday, my cameras caught roofing nails scattered across my driveway at 2 a.m. The hooded figure's distinctive march screamed Brenda. Officer Morgan took my report seriously. Classic intimidation pattern. Keep documenting. Then came an anonymous letter. Your kind doesn't belong here. Leave or face consequences. The paper matched Brenda's HOA notices. Detective Martinez called it a hate crime, adding to Brenda's growing file. Tom's coffee shop coalition grew to 6 households. Mike, a lawyer, had been fined for mailbox fonts. Sarah, an accountant, for unapproved flowers. Group action gets results, Tom said. At the courthouse, I uncovered Brenda's scheme. $78,000 embezzled via fake companies tied to her address. B&B Property Solutions, Brenda's Best Gardens, Wilson and Associates. She'd targeted vulnerable homeowners, harassed them into selling below market, then pocketed commissions. 3 families had fled her wrath. Her own house was in foreclosure. $23,000 in unpaid dues, back taxes, and debt. The Camaro incident was her desperate attempt to force me out for a quick sale. Tom's garage became our war room. Sarah, the accountant, confirmed the theft. Mike, the lawyer, outlined Brenda's legal liabilities. Linda, the teacher, mapped her harassment patterns. Carlos, the contractor, upgraded our security. We planned to flip the HOA board, file criminal charges, and expose her publicly. Brenda's panic was palpable. She called an emergency meeting, recorded by Tom. They're investigating our finances. I'm not going down alone. Her vandalism attempt, planting oil cans under my floodlights, was laughably inept. The inspector dismissed her environmental complaint. The cans still had price tags. Her social media rants grew unhinged, accusing outside agitators of ruining Willowbrook. When she offered Carlos $2,000 to ditch the cameras, he recorded her. Another false police report claimed I'd threatened her with a weapon, debunked by my 3 witnesses. Sarah's audit revealed $96,000 stolen over 30 months. Then Brenda broke into the HOA office, shredding records until police caught her. In jail, she begged Clara to help her flee with $50,000 hidden in her garage, recorded for posterity. The neighborhood meeting was electric. 43 households, $112,000 stolen, $2,800 per family. Brenda was ousted unanimously. Channel 7's Janet Mills broke the story. HOA president arrested in embezzlement scheme. Brenda's license was suspended. Her house sold at auction for $280,000. Her tearful Facebook confession blamed everyone but herself. At sentencing, Judge Hernandez gave her 4 years in prison, $112,000 restitution, and 5 years probation. The courtroom cheered. 6 months later, Willowbrook thrives. Tom, Sarah, and Mike run a transparent HOA. Property values are up 15%. Restitution payments funded vacations and debt relief. Our story became Garage Door Justice, a documentary winning festival awards. I started a scholarship for auto tech students, began dating Sarah, and consult with other communities facing HOA abuse. The Willowbrook Act now mandates HOA audits statewide. Monthly block parties have replaced Brenda's tyranny with community spirit. Share your HOA horror stories below. Your fight can inspire others. Next week, a Karen tries to steal a veteran service dog and learns about federal crimes the hard way. If you enjoyed this tale of justice, comment and subscribe for more HOA drama.